Okay, so this is my Honda NC750X. It's the adventure styled bike from Honda, and it was originally bought as a commuter bike, but basically it's been a lot more than that. I've used it for commuting, long distance riding, all around Europe. It's also done trail riding and a little bit of green laning as well, and it handles most of the stuff very, very well. It's not the usual bike. It's a kind of a NC, or a new concept by Honda. So that means that the engine is a two-cylinder based on a Honda Jazz engine, which makes it rev really low, but it's got loads of torque. So on a long distance journey, it's the torque that drives the bike, not the out and out horsepower. So that's exactly what you need, and that's what I've found. And most people don't realize how good these bikes really are. The bike itself is fully loaded. This one, it's a 750cc bike. It's also got all of the factory options, which I'll walk you around now. Right, so if you look at the bike, you can see it's got the factory luggage, or the options of the luggage, which has silver panels on it to match the adventure theme, top box as well. And as you walk around, it's also got the optional silver side panels on here. Hand guards, which are very, very useful for keeping the wind and everything else off your hands, and it makes riding a little bit more comfortable. And it also has an extended screen plus a flip down upper version, which makes the screen quite tall, as you can see, but it also makes it very comfortable when you're doing longer journeys. Now, it also has spotlights, which are the LED versions, both sides, which again were an option on this bike. And as I walk around as well, it also has the heated grips here, which have a couple of settings from mild to scalding, which is very nice on a cold day. And on this bike as well, I've put a mount for sat navs, etc. Okay, so yeah, it's got basically all of the options, including your side and center stand, which is an option. The center stand is, rather, the side stand's not. And it's got a nice little kind of crash or sump guard on here, but it's a plastic one, but it's great for stopping stones entering the engine or hitting the engine itself. And I've modified it with an XL exhaust, which really doesn't make it any quieter. It's a lot louder, but it also gives it a little bit more power as well. So yeah, this bike comes with absolutely everything fully loaded. Now, one of the things that is unusual is that this isn't a tank. So if I pop the tank cover, you can see in there it's got all of my usual rubbish, including my sat nav storage, some cookies or biscuits, and whatever bottle of drink that you want on your ride. So yeah, it's a great storage area. It includes all the leads for charging, etc. And it's got a charging port built into here, which is fantastic because it gives you a lot more luggage capacity. Now, if I turn the key the other way, it flips open where you would normally have a pillion seat, but this is a fuel tank. So your fuel tank's under the seat, which means that the center of gravity is a lot better, and it keeps the weight, because it's quite a hefty bike, it keeps the weight fairly low, which is good. The only downside so far is the seat. The seat's relatively hard, even though it's quite big for pillion and rider. It can get a little bit harsh after about 3 hours or so, but then again, you kind of get used to it, which I did on my longer trips. So yeah, this is a very well thought out bike. Now, if I come around to the back, it's also got a little fender on here to stop the muck from getting under the number plate as well, and it keeps the underneath of the bike relatively clean. I mean, this hasn't been cleaned since the trip I took, so it's a little bit dirty, but it's not filthy. You won't come through all of those floods and storms. So yeah, this is the Honda NC new concept NC750X or SA, which is more of an adventure style bike than a an out-and-out road bike. So what do I think of this bike? Well, this bike is a Swiss Army knife of bikes. It will do anything you want. It'll go take it anywhere you want to go. And even running this bike for over 22 hours non-stop, other than for fuel, it never ever missed a beat. And because of that, it's one of the most reliable bikes you can get out there. It's really easy to maintain as well, if you want to do it yourself. Everything's accessible, and you know, the parts are relatively cheap for a Honda, which is good. And also, there's nothing gone wrong with this bike. In the years I've had this bike, I've literally only ever adjusted the chain and give it a bit of a service, and that is it. Oh, and a couple of pairs of tyres as well, because obviously doing long distance, it does wear them out a little bit. But other than that, it's a great bike. The only downside is, if you compare this to a DeVille, is that it's chain drive, not shaft drive, so you do have to look after the chain a little bit, which is something you don't have to do on a Pan Euro or a DeVille, but it's just a small thing, as majority of bikes are chain driven anyway. So yeah, this is my Honda NC750x SA, and it's a great bike. I'd recommend one of these to anyone. They're much better than you would even think they are.